All right, well, let's get started. Good evening and welcome to the Right On Awards ceremony. I'm Leanne Monzo, Programming Coordinator for Loudoun County Public Library and your host this evening. Please feel free to send me your comments and suggestions by using the chat feature. The Right On Adult Short Story Contest began in 2013. Originally, we accepted submissions from anywhere in the world and received entries from faraway places like Serbia, Nepal, and India. Last year was the first year we limited submissions to the DC region. We'll be announcing the winners in just a few moments, and we'd love to see you. So if you don't mind being on camera, please click on the raise hand button after your name is called if you've won a prize, and then I can put you on video. It is my pleasure now to introduce Nathan Leslie, who will announce the winners of the 2021 Right On contest. Nathan won the 2019 Washington Writers Publishing House Prize for Fiction for his satirical collection of short stories, Hurry Up and Relax. Very funny. I highly recommend the book. His 9 previous books of fiction include Three Men, Root and Shoot, Sibs, and The Tall Tale of Tommy Twice. Nathan is also the author of a collection of poems, Night Sweat. He is currently the series editor for Best Small Fictions, the founder and organizer of the Reston Reading Series, and the publisher and editor of Maryland Literary Review. Previously, he was series editor for Best of the Web and fiction editor for Pedestal Magazine. Nathan's fiction has been published in hundreds of literary magazines, such as Shenandoah, North American Review, Boulevard, Hotel America, and Cimarron Review. His nonfiction has been published in the Washington Post, Kansas City Star, and Orlando Sentinel. Nathan currently teaches at Northern Virginia Community College. Welcome, Nathan. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much, Lorraine, and it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you all for joining the meeting here, and a huge thank you, of course, to the Right On Contest for asking me to announce the winners. I mean, it's a real honor, and I will do that in just a minute. I just wanted to say a few words about some of the things that I'm involved in locally in case you're interested in checking them out or participating. And then I will get to the winners. So first of all, as Lorraine mentioned, I'm the host of the Reston Reading Series in Reston, Virginia. It happens at the Reston Youth Bookshop, right there in Lake Ann and in Reston. It's been going on for 6 years now. We took a little bit of a break because of the pandemic, but we're back in action, and we actually have our second post sort of, I guess, pandemic, or we're still in the pandemic, but you know, we're back to meeting in person at the bookstore, and it's usually the last Sunday of every month at 5:30 p.m. We have a Facebook page if you want to check it out. It's just called Reston Readings. So thought some of you might be interested. Again, it's a monthly reading, features local authors, fiction, poetry, nonfiction. Sometimes we have open mic nights as well. So if some of you would be interested in participating down the road, it's really worth your time, I think. Usually about an hour and 15 minutes or so. Also, Lorraine mentioned the Maryland Literary Review. That's a new online magazine that I've created. You can check it out online, and it's not necessarily local authors. It's authors from all over the country and world, but I always like to, you know, of course, support local authors as well. So I'm from Maryland originally. That's the sort of the origin of the title. Also, Lorraine mentioned the fact that I teach at Nova. I actually teach at the Sterling campus, which hopefully is fairly convenient for some of you Loudoun folks. And I usually teach creative writing about once a semester or so. I also teach, you know, literature classes as well. So if you're interested in checking those out, please do so. Now, as a guest, guest speaker here, you may or may not know that as a prize winner, you will be receiving a copy of my book, Hurry Up and Relax, which, as Lorraine mentioned, was the winner of the Washington Writers Publishing House 2019 award. It's a really great prize. It's a great publishing house, and you may want to check it out. But anyway, you will be getting a copy of the book for your reading pleasure, and I hope you do enjoy it. Okay, so I did want to say a few things about writing in general, just kind of like as a, I guess maybe as an inspirational um, way of getting into the award announcements. And I just wanted to say that basically, well, I wanted to, I guess, start off with a poem. Let's put it that way. It's a very famous poem by Adrian Rich called Diving into the Wreck. And I'm just going to actually read the very first stanza of this poem. It's very often anthologized. This particular poem is coming to you from 250 Poems, which is just a little anthology of poetry. And there's maybe 10 lines in the beginning of this poem. So Adrian Rich writes, Diving into the Wreck. First, having read the Book of Myths and loaded the camera and checked the edge of the knife blade, I put on the body armor of black rubber, the absurd flippers, the grave, and awkward mask. I'm having to do this not like Cousteau with his assiduous team aboard the sun-flooded schooner, but here, alone. And it's a really great poem because Adrian Rich is really writing about, in a sort of symbolic or metaphorical way, about her own life and her own relationships. But she uses this metaphor of diving into the wreck to sort of get into that framework. But what's interesting about the poem is it's also about the writing process. And I'd like to just expand on this idea of diving, maybe, diving underwater as a way of understanding the writing process, which you all have gone through in submitting your short story. So, writing, of course, is difficult, just like, diving. You don't always know where you're going or how to get there. The water is sometimes murky, and there's this innate kind of courage or danger involved with writing. It's, sort of oftentimes understood writing is, there's this cliche of that, writing is a process and that you're just kind of, quote, putting into words, what is formulated in your head or something you experience perhaps and you're attempting to fictionalize. But I don't really like that metaphor, actually, because I don't think we're necessarily putting into words something. We're oftentimes trying to figure out where we're going, just like a diving underwater. So the whole idea of putting into words implies that you just have this idea in your head already formulated and you just, sort of spout it out on the page and then you're done. Only if writing was so easy, right? Really what we're doing is we're swimming and we're diving and you can't really see where you're going. You don't know how deep the water is. You don't know where the wreck is if you're searching for that wreck. And it really takes a lot of, as you all know, persistence and wherewithal to really be successful and to hopefully write something that is worth reading for someone else. So that's my little soapbox, is that, you all must be congratulated for being so persistent as writers, and I hope, you continue to do so and to be persistent and to continue to dive into the water, even though it's hard, because sometimes you just want to stay on the boat and sort of lounge and drink a glass of wine or something, right? But writing, that diving into the water, that sort of sinking in is difficult, and sometimes it's intimidating, but I think it's rewarding, because if you can reach that wreck, if you can reach that treasure, it's really that's sort of the end goal, is finding what you need to find in your piece. Sometimes it takes years. Okay, so with that said, I am going to announce the winners and also read some excerpts from the third, second, and first place winners. I will also read the names of some honorable mention winners as well. So Lorraine, are you ready for me to go to the third place?
Let's start with the honorable mentions. Is that okay?
Okay. Sure. I'll read the list of the honorable mentions. Okay. So here, the following authors and stories were honorable mentions for the 2021 Right On Contest Award. First, Aaron Price with The Date. Also, E.G. Reed with The Housewarming Gift. Next, Shruti Sekhar with One of Seven. Anna Emiletiova with Lucy. Stephen Foss, Sundays on Sunday. Megan Hogate, who wrote Rise of a Legend. Kara Kavicha, who wrote 72 Hours. Kathy Mazaraz, Whispering Flags. Haley Casray, When Gus Met Trixie. And last but not least, Larry Shea, who wrote Numbers. Congratulations, all honorable mentions.
Congratulations to all the honorable mentions. Thank you so much for competing in this contest, and you'll be receiving in the next couple of weeks a copy of Nathan's book in the mail. Thank you.
Okay, so third place goes to Jesse Nastasi, who wrote Kite. The third place prize, in addition to a copy of my book, will be $50. I would like to read a sample from Kite by Jesse Nastasi. When they got to the mall, Arjun's breath caught in his throat. The air was perfumed. Thousands of delicate pink petals carpeted the grass. The Japanese cherry trees were in full bloom, making a cotton candy forest. Around the white sword of the obelisk, there was a colorful flock of strange birds. As he grew closer, Arjun's mouth gaped and his eyes widened. Every size and shape and pattern of kite was there, floating, diving, sometimes colliding with each other in the air. There were fighter planes, phoenixes, and massive butterflies. There was even a dragon one, with streamers trailing from its glorious wingtips. Arjun glanced down at the kite in his hands as his cheek burned. Mama gave his hand a squeeze and released it. Go on, fly. A lump in his throat as he unspooled the line. Arjun tried to ignore the other flyers. He let out a little sigh before flinging his dinky kite away from him like the piece of trash it was. But when that thin bit of plastic caught the air, small magic happened. It hovered, then shot for the heavens, as if an arrow loosened. Transformed, it was now a live thing, weaving and bobbing at the end of the thread. Congratulations to Jesse Nastasi.
That's beautiful, Jesse. Thank you so much. And you'll be receiving a $50 check in the mail in the next couple of days.
Okay, the second place award goes to Shelby Caputo for her story, The Residents. Congratulations, Shelby. The second place award is $100 and a copy of my book.
Congratulations.
Now I will read a sample from The Residents. Okay. The Residents by Shelby Caputo. I fill the silence with my daily ongoings, updates about her granddaughters, and plans for the weekend. We pass Missy's room. Missy functions at a higher level than most of the residents. I still hope Mom and Missy will become friends. Missy is always sitting in the courtyard with her little dog Lady. It is too cold for them to be outside today. Mom and I pass Jack's room, Billy's room, and Judy's room. Jack lost his ability to articulate his thoughts, but we wave and give each other a high five once in a while. Jack with his kind eyes and radiant smile. Everyone knows Billy, the retired naval officer with a sweet face, and no one can keep up with Judy, who speed walks her way around the residence as if trying to qualify for the Olympics. 10 days passed. The flu struck my youngest daughter and then my husband. I call my mother each day to let her know I am not able to visit because I am taking care of my family. On the last 3 days, I call Mom to report that the flu caught me too, and I'm laid up in bed. Within a few days of recovering, I received news that the schools were shutting down because of COVID-19. Then, as if he reads my mind, the executive director of my mother's memory care residence, sends out an email closing the building to non-staff members. But I still have my mother's laundry to return, and I have not seen her in 10 days. This cannot be happening. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
The grand prize of $200 goes to Leanne Monzo for her story, Words. Congratulations, Leanne. I will read a brief passage from the story. This is Words by Leanne Monzo. Hi again, she started awkwardly. That's beautiful. Do you sell your paintings? This? He asked, nodding to the sign. Oh, this isn't for sale. It's not really my creation. I'm just sharing the words. Oh, well, it's really nice. I love the one the other week especially, she shared, almost embarrassed. This probably sounds weird, but it was almost like the words changed my heart, like they were there just for me. He simply gave her his serene smile. I know, he stated, without a hint of pride. Not quite sure what to say next, Tilly simply gave him a friendly nod and went back to her car and magazines. Congratulations, Leanne Monzo. Great job.
Congratulations, Leanne, on first place. And congratulations to all of the writers who competed. That's part of being a writer, isn't it? Is to compete and get your work out there. So keep going for it. Please check in the library's calendar. We have a lot of writers giving writing programs, both in the branches and virtually. So you can improve your writing and meet other writers and learn about the publishing process. And best of luck to all of you. Where would the world be without writers and books? Thank you so much for doing what you do. And Nathan, thank you. And thanks to the committee who chose these writers. It wasn't Nathan and I. Unfortunately, we weren't on that committee, but the committee was comprised of some librarians at Loudoun County Public Library, and a big thanks to them. All right, everyone.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Bye-bye.
Everyone, congratulations.
Congratulations.